use headphones for best experience. Thanks for your fantastic support. Hi, welcome to another video. And first, let me show you that you can find a lot of my content now on audio streaming platforms. If you want to listen audio only, you just type in ASMRctica ASMR and you will find a lot of albums from my videos and some exclusive content also, so check it out. Also, I would like to remind you that you can check my older videos. Maybe there's one recently uploaded video that you have missed. So don't forget to check the videos tab. For example, really old videos now are the Game of Thrones map drawing videos that I made 4 years ago. But if you're interested in this video in particular, maybe you can check these out too. Drawing map of Essos, drawing map of Westeros. And also I want to thank you for your fantastic comments. It helps me so much, and yeah, it's fantastic that you write so many nice comments to my videos, so please keep up commenting my videos. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Today I would like to draw a dragon, and it's a dragon from House of the Dragon series, or the novels by George R.R. Martin, A Song of Ice and Fire. And after thinking for a while, I have decided to draw the dragon Caraxes, because I think the overall shape and everything with Caraxes is really cool and distinct. You can really see that this dragon is Caraxes and not another dragon. So just like I did with the dinosaur video a while ago, I will start using this pencil to get the overall shape of this animal before I continue with other pencils perhaps. Maybe I will add some colors at the end. And I have a nice reference picture that I found online, like a 3D model of Caraxes. It's created by Ignite Studio. I can add a link in the description. Okay, we'll zoom in a bit now. Okay, so Caraxes is sometimes called the blood worm. So it's a male dragon, and he has a red color. So I will add some red pencil now to this drawing. And Caraxes has a very long tail and a very long neck. That's very characteristic for Caraxes. And he also has this type of forked tail, ending into, two tails, like a fork. And I think Caraxes is not like other dragons, has these membranes, not just the wings, but also some membranes or wings at the legs. And I guess those wing membranes could be called uropatagium, or maybe interfemoral membrane. Because on other animals like bats and pterosaurs, that's the name of the membrane that goes from the hind legs to the tail. And the bats have them. Pterosaurs, I'm not sure if they had them when they were around. Pterosaurs are the flying reptiles that lived at the same time as the dinosaurs, but got extinct like approximately 66 million years ago. But there were some relatives to pterosaurs that I have read about. For example, the Charovipteryx, an ancient form or early form of flying reptile that also had wings. They didn't have wings at the arms. They only had these membranes at the legs. So they look quite special. I've seen a drawing of it. Quite different from other and later flying reptiles like the pterosaur. See if I can add a lighter red color for the wings. If it makes any difference. This is where the wings are attached to the body. So the dragons in George R.R. Martin's version, because dragons is a mythological creature, of course, and they have been depicted and described in many different ways. But George R.R. Martin, who wrote those books, in the A Song of Ice and Fire series that later became the Game of Thrones series and House of the Dragon series, he said that dragons should have 2 hind legs and the wings should be evolved from the front limbs. In many other versions and pictures and depictions of dragons, dragons have had 4 legs, just like most animals do. And then 2 wings. If they were winged dragons, they had 2 wings added. So they had 4 legs and 2 wings. But George R.R. Martin, he said that nothing in the history of, in the evolution, known evolution on Earth has evolved in that way in nature. So it's quite unlikely that dragons, if they existed, would have 2 or like 4 legs and 2 additional wings. So probably they would have evolved the wings from the front limbs, just like bats, for example, or the pterosaurs when they lived. So they evolved these membranes, these wing membranes, and Caraxes also have an example of these membranes at the hind limbs. But for example, on pterosaurs, there's only it's like they had an arm, forelimb, like other reptiles, and then they started to evolve. One of the fingers just grew longer and longer, and started to support this entire membrane that became the wings that eventually let them fly with powered flight. Bats that evolved much later than the pterosaurs, they actually, all their digits grew through evolution. So they have a thumb here, like a claw, just like Caraxes, and then they had the second finger extended and supporting the wing membrane. But in bats, actually, the second and third finger, or the second and third digit, they kind of grew together like this, and the other were separate. So that means that they had a really great support for the upper part of the wing. So you can imagine the second finger and the third finger like creating a loop here. And then they had, the fourth and fifth finger, just like Caraxes here. But as you can see on this depiction of Caraxes, there are actually 5 fingers. So the thumb is a claw, just like bats. But Caraxes has the second, third, fourth, and fifth finger extended to support this huge membrane, huge wings. And it's a huge animal, so to be able to fly, they would need a lot of muscles, of course, but I guess there are a lot of muscle attachments here in the chest, so that's why the chest looks so powerful and large here. Just like in birds or pterosaurs, they also evolved a lot of powerful chests with a lot of muscle attachments, a lot of muscles. Powered flight has evolved at least 4 times during evolution, so it's quite rare actually. And now I'm not counting dragons. The first species, or the first animals who evolved power flight were the insects. And it's a mystery and very debated where did the wings come from? How did they evolve wings and power flight? But I have read a bit about it today and tried to find some answers and theories, and it looks like it evolved very early. So like when all the animals were living in the water before life climbed up to dry land. Then there were some arthropods, some kind of shrimps or crabs. I guess the proper name for them are the crustaceans. It's a new word to me, but it includes both shrimps and crabs. After after living in water and adapting to a life on land, they evolved, like some of their legs, they have so many legs. They have like, there are shrimps who have like 5 pair of legs for swimming, and then 5 additional pairs of legs for walking, and additional 3 pairs of legs just for feeding. And also I have read that gills on fish and shrimps, for example, are some kind of legs, or at least appendages. So that early in evolution history, an animal could have a lot of legs, a lot of appendages, and some of them could evolve into something else. So for example, gills were, I think it's really cool to imagine that gills first were some kind of legs, because the legs could be used for feeding, for like when you were living in the water, like helping you to get food into your mouth. And also so gills help you to kind of get oxygen into your body somehow. It's quite mysterious. I really don't understand gills, but maybe they were from the beginning some kind of legs, because legs could be used for feeding and breathing and everything in the beginning, when animals were only living in the water. But then when some types of crabs or crustaceans started to adapt for land, for a life on land, then some pair of legs, of those front legs, quite close to the head, slowly climbed up to the back of the animal and evolved into wings. So maybe gills were the origin of the insect's wings. And now, not all insects, but typically an insect has 6 legs and 2 additional wings. And the next time that powered flight evolved in animals were the pterosaurs, that lived alongside the dinosaurs and evolved alongside the dinosaurs in the Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous time periods. So then you could see that the forelimb, like this, evolved, and this digit, just one finger, I'm not sure which one, maybe the second finger. No, I think the pterosaurs had like a thumb and then 2 or 3 fingers here, and then it was like the 4th finger that just evolved and went longer and longer and became the support for the whole wing. And also the pterosaurs had a bone here supporting this membrane, because this is also an important membrane, the propatagium. Patagium is a name for the skin membranes, the wing membranes. But this is the propatagium. And the pterosaurs had like a bone here. That's very characteristic for pterosaur, the pteroid bone. So I guess one of the fingers, maybe the thumb, evolved into the pteroid bone, supporting this important membrane for flying. And then maybe the second, third, 4th finger evolved into claws and a small hand. and then one of the fingers became the support for the wing. And then the birds, of course, they evolved from theropod dinosaurs at the end of the time of the dinosaurs. And they evolved powered flight in their own way. And you can still see this shape. It's like an arm still on birds, but it's covered with feathers, of course. And then the last animal who evolved powered flight were the bats. The only mammal that evolved power flight. I'm not sure if it's only mammal, but generally it's the insects, the pterosaurs, the birds, and the bats. So the birds are the only dinosaurs who evolved power flight, because pterosaurs were not strictly dinosaurs. They were related. They were reptiles, but not dinosaurs. The mammal bats, they're really cool with their wings, I think. And the bat's wings reminds me, it resembles these wings quite a lot, except for this detail that I mentioned, that the bats have like the second and third finger coming together, and just two more fingers like this. So who is Caraxes? It's quite a large dragon, but far from the largest of the around 30 known dragons that lived in Westeros. The house Targaryen's dragons. We don't know much about the older dragons. That there were so many dragons, I guess, in ancient history that are not recorded, like in the Valyrian freehold, the Valyrian Empire that lasted for like 3,000 years. But they are described from the time of the Targaryens, when they started to have their own dragons. Or I mean, they had dragons. I mean, Targaryens are the family, the dragon lords, the family, the house that has dragons in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. But there used to be many more houses that had dragons in the Valyrian freehold, but it's so long time ago, so it's not described. So actually there were only one dragon who survived the Valyrian, the doom of Valyria, when the Valyrian freehold collapsed in 102 BC, before conquest. So there were 5 dragons who survived from like hundreds of dragons, I don't know. Only 5 survived because they had the Targaryens had emigrated to Dragonstone, an island outside Westeros. So they survived the doom of Valyria. Valyria was in Essos continent. The doom of Valyria was an event when 14 volcanoes erupted at the same time and caused all the death of all the dragons. All the dragons got extinct in Essos. But they had 5 dragons on Dragonstone, and 4 of them died, and only Balerion, I think he was called, Balerion, survived. and 3 or 5 eggs, dragon eggs. So from Balerion and those 5 eggs, they started to, the Targaryens family started to breed dragons in their family, and typically they gave dragon eggs to the cradle to a newborn baby. So they were like cradle eggs. They placed dragon eggs in the cradle for newborn princes or princesses, and so then they could hatch there, and the baby could bond with the dragon when it was hatched. So that was a typical way of a dragon finding its dragon lord or dragon rider, because it was very difficult to ride a dragon, of course, and you had to like claim a dragon or bond with a dragon, and then there were just one rider for that dragon, and no one else could ride it until the rider died or something, or the dragon died. So the bonding between a Targaryen human from the Targaryen family and a dragon was really important. So Caraxes was born or hatched not among the very first dragons, but quite early in the history of the Targaryens in Westeros, on the kings of the Iron Throne. It's like the story with the Targaryens in Westeros begins with the Aegon's conquest at year 1 or 0. So like the time starts with Aegon's conquest, and Aegon had a dragon, Balerion, this old dragon that had survived from Valyria, this old freehold, the only surviving dragon. And then his sisters, Rhaenys and Visenya, that also became his wives, they had 1 dragon each. So they had claimed Caraxes and Vhagar. And this was around year 1. And these 3 dragons and Aegon the First and his sister queens, they conquered the whole continent of Westeros, with help from the dragons, of course, because the dragons were typically used for war. And then around like 70 years after this time, there were new dragons in Westeros, in King's Landing, the seat for the Valerians. And then there was a dragon called Caraxes. Probably this was a cradle egg for Prince Aemon Targaryen, the oldest son of Jaehaerys Targaryen. Jaehaerys Targaryen had another dragon, Wyrm, and his queen and sister had a dragon called Silverwing. So that was kind of the second generation of dragons in Westeros. And then the third generation was Caraxes, Meleys, and Vhagar again, because Vhagar became a really old dragon that was claimed over and over again, even though the dragon rider died. Another member of the Targaryen family claimed it, and it's like Vhagar goes from generation to generation somehow, while other dragons typically die in battle or since they are used in war a lot, so many of them dies in battle. But Aemon Targaryen and Alyssa Targaryen, his sister, and also his little brother Berion, the brave Targaryen, they had 3 dragons in the late 1st century AC, after conquest. And these were Caraxes, Melis, and Vhagar. And they often were flying together on these dragons. So that was the first dragon rider of Caraxes. So then Caraxes was a young dragon, but it's not known exactly when Caraxes was born. But at least at the year 72 AC, Caraxes was alive, had been born, and could be claimed by Aemon. Aemon's daughter was Rhaenys Targaryen, that claimed Melis after Alyssa. I guess Alyssa died. I'm not sure exactly, but that's how it's impossible to claim a dragon if the former dragon rider is still alive, I guess. So yeah. But Aemon Targaryen died in 92 AC, I think, and then no one claimed Caraxes for a couple of years, and probably he was in the Dragon Pit in King's Landing, the huge castle for the dragons, or stable for the dragons. And then Aemon's brother's son, Aemon's nephew, it must be, Daemon Targaryen, claimed Caraxes in the early 100s AC. Yeah, so it was in 105 AC when Prince Daemon Targaryen claimed Caraxes as his mount. And Daemon took his paramour Mysaria with him on Caraxes, and they retreated from King's Landing to Dragonstone. Actually, I would like to show you some maps. These are actually maps that I made 4 years ago, or no, I think it's 5 years ago. For this, you can see videos, you can watch videos when I'm drawing these maps. So Westeros and Essos. And here you can see King's Landing in the Crown Lands, the seat for the Targaryens. By the way, the Targaryens very often married sisters or brothers or nephews or uncles or very close relatives, because they want to keep like the blood pure or something. Because Targaryens were actually the only family who had dragons, and it's very mysterious, but maybe probably not every humans can bond with dragons and become a dragon lord or dragon rider. You kind of have to be born to it, and there are theories and myths that Targaryens have share like dragon blood, that they are related somehow to the dragons. So to be able to continue having dragons and bond with dragons, they did this marriage inside the family a lot. But this became the seat of Targaryens after Aegon's conquest, King's Landing. And this is where the Red Keep is, and also the Dragon Pit. Here is Dragonstone, the island where the Targaryens first moved or escaped from Valyria 12 years prior to the doom of Valyria, because of a prophecy. Someone, I'm not sure who it was now, but someone in the Targaryens family had a prophecy or like a dream that Valyria would collapse and everyone would die. And because of this, the Targaryens moved to this westernmost outpost. Because Essos is here on the other side of the narrow sea. They moved here with 5 dragons, and 12 years after the doom of Valyria took place, and all dragons, and many people died, of course, when all those volcanoes erupted, and the cataclysm of the Valyrian Peninsula happened. Here you can see Valyria Peninsula. It's been sundered since the doom, the cataclysm. Here along the western coast are the free cities of Essos, Bravos, Lorath, Pentos, Mir, Tirosh, Lis, Volantis, Norfos, Kohar. After the doom of Valyria, when the Targaryens had moved to Dragonstone, before Aegon the Conqueror started to conquer Westeros, there were a lot of wars and conflicts here between the Targaryens, who were the only one who still had dragons, and these city-states in the western coast of Essos. So they were like 114 years, sometimes called the Century of Blood, and there were a lot of conflicts. And then also a couple of dragons hatched during this time, for example Caraxes, Aegon, and King Aegon the first king on the Iron Throne. By the way, the Iron Throne is believed to have been created with help from a dragonfire. Dragonfire is so powerful, especially dragonfire from old dragons of old age. It can be so hot that it can even melt iron and break stone and everything. So probably the Iron Throne was created from dragonfire melting the swords from fallen enemies. Because Aegon the Conqueror, he conquered all the kingdoms, the 7 kingdoms on the Westeros continent, except maybe from the Dome, and made King's Landing the capital. But yeah, here's Dragonstone. Here's Driftmark, another important island. The seat of the Valerians, another family from Valyria that survived because they were like traveling a lot on the sea, and the doom of Valyria didn't affect them so much, I guess. And there are a lot of myths and legends about how dragons, the origin of dragons in Essos before they came to Westeros. And one theory is that the dragons originally sprang from the 14 flames, these 14 volcanoes, ring of volcanoes on the Valyrian Peninsula. And another theory among the folks of Essos, especially the Quarth people. I don't know exactly where Quarth is now. Here somewhere probably. They had a myth that they originated from a second moon in the sky that was scalded by the sun and cracked like an egg, and out from it came millions of dragons. And now we only have one moon, but from the beginning there was also that moon filled with dragons. Another myth or theory is that they originated from the Shadowlands here beyond Ashai, this mountainous area, and also that they could originate from the islands of the Jade Sea. So here somewhere. And the people of Ashai here, they also had a theory that the dragons were first tamed by an unnamed people who brought them to Valyria and taught the Valyrians the arts of handling dragons, and then disappeared from history. Also, there's a theory that there were Valyrian blood mages that were using wyverns. That's a flying reptile that doesn't breathe fire, so it's like a dragon but not breathing fire. Or they could also maybe have used fire worms, another creature, a wingless reptilian creature that do breathe fire, but doesn't have wings. So they were using some of those types of mythological ancient creatures, and through blood mages and magic they could create dragons. So there are several theories, of course. But I think I'm quite happy with this drawing now. Maybe do a little more here on shadows on the wings. And I can zoom out a bit. So yeah, this is Caraxes, the blood worm. Dragon ridden at first by Prince Aemon Targaryen and later Prince Daemon Targaryen. And thank you so much for watching, and thanks for your support. Sleep well. Take care. See you soon.